Our spring holiday this year started on Easter Monday, the 21st of April. As usual, we were picked up from home by a feeder bus, firstly calling into Chippenham to pick up more travellers, then on to Cirencester, where we joined the rest of the party on the Barnes coach. The first stop for lunch was Hereford, which is a cathedral city with many half-timbered buildings. The famous Mappa Mundi is displayed inside the cathedral. After having a sausage roll in Greggs, we walked on into the main thoroughfare. The old house, built in 1621 in the centre, is an example of the old buildings. To remind us of the famous Hereford cattle, a large sculpted bull is displayed in the middle of the street. Walking back to catch the coach, we passed the home of the Mayor of Hereford in 1627. From Hereford, we travelled across the Shropshire Hills National Landscape Area and onto our hotel in Telford for our stay. Trees in full bloom in front of me. The first day we went to Shrewsbury for a boat trip on the River Severn, where we were treated to coffee whilst abroad. Being the Easter holidays, the children were off school and were enjoying much fun in the playground. Many rowers were also out in their boats.
As we make the turn here, you can see the English Bridge. This was originally built in 1774.
The boat turned round at the English Bridge. It is possible to see the height of the river when flooding occurred by the marks on the brick wall.
With an extra 26 foot of width and a shallower gradient to make it more suitable for the increasing amounts of motor traffic. Beyond the bridge, sticking up amongst the trees, there's a sandstone tower with a blue-green conical roof. That is Laura's Tower, constructed by a father and his two sons, who were paid the princely sum of £3 each for every 100 feet of wall they completed. £3 doesn't sound like a lot, but in the 13th century that would have been the equivalent of about £2,000.
We passed Shrewsbury School, founded in 1552, where famous people such as Charles Darwin were educated.
His Sopwith camel was shot down behind enemy lines and he was mortally wounded. He died 2 days later, just 1 day after the armistice, and he's generally believed to be the last RAF fatality of the First World War.
Lunch of soup and a roll had been arranged at the Orchard Cafe next to the cathedral.
Tower.
Instead of painting walls, the folk of Shrewsbury have painted their telephone junction boxes. We were then free to explore Shrewsbury before crossing over the River Severn to join our coach for the ride back to the hotel. The trip for the next day was to Bliss Hill, Victorian Town, where we could visit Victorian shops and cottages and meet craftspeople demonstrating their trades.
Well, maybe we will now. We all have to learn these things, don't we? Manners, you see. And you're very nicely dressed, if you don't mind me saying so, with your coat that makes you...
How long is it before the plaster is dry then?
So it only takes about 20 minutes to set in the mould, but even when you take it out the mould, there's still a little bit of moisture in it.
I found the candle maker the most interesting.
It was originally located just across the road in Maidley, not too far away from here, and it was built in 1850. So if you look to your right, you can see so at the start of the process you have these big vats, there'd be water in the vats, and what Thomas did was he brokered a deal with the local butchers. He would take all the unwanted parts of the meat, mostly mutton, or 105 wicks on each rack. Here, take a look.
Big blade.
Yes, you don't want to get your fingers in there. nodding part, so the candles will be dipped slowly into the wax, slowly back out again. Do you want to feel of that? Feel of that? Feel that?
So how many times do you have to dip it then?
I'll come to that in a second.
It's warm, doesn't it?
But you wouldn't measure them either, because it was just unrealistic with so many candles on the wing.
So this is where all the metal signs come to rest. It was then on to the Coalport China Museum.
You have a jug of liquid and a jug of something like that. Don't fit.
Such intricate work to make the china flowers.
And that'll
It was possible to go inside the great kiln and see how the saggers containing the china objects were packed in for firing. The last visit of the day was to the village of Ironbridge, where the first bridge of cast iron was made. Looking down the River Severn. What made the owner of this house collect all these wild animals? The next day we went to Stokesay Castle, which is one of the finest surviving fortified manor houses in England, built in the late 13th century. This painting gives us an idea of how the Great Hall must have looked when visitors came. Can you see the swallow on the ledge? He has a nest in one of the rooms. It was interesting to see the great wooden beams and the wooden pegs which kept the stone tiles on the roof. The Church of John the Baptist is a Grade 1 listed Church of England church and is adjacent to Stokesay Castle. The church first dates from 1150 and was probably the chapel to the castle. Ludlow was our last town for that day, where the twice-weekly market was being held. This was another town with half-timbered houses and streets that sloped down to the river. On the last day we called in Bridge North, which is a market town split into two by the River Severn.
The other side of Bridge North. Entrance to Bridge North Shopping Centre. Are these bins big, bright enough for you?
Worcester, home of Sir Edgar Elgar, was the last city we visited.
Statue of Edgar Elgar, Worcester.
We just missed seeing the princess proms in the cathedral, where the children were dressed up to sing songs from their favourite movies. Here comes the coach to take us back to Cirencester and then home.